Hey guys. Hey, happy Friday. As I promised, as a part of this Simple Steps Hearing God's Voice series, I just want to jump on each Friday and give you a little more of just some more encouragement and some really simple tools for learning to hear God's voice for yourself. And today's is really simple. It is write it down. Oftentimes, when we're listening, trying to learn to hear God's voice, we're so afraid of being wrong that a lot of times we're afraid to put it on paper, right? Somehow that makes it really real or really strong, or I don't know, something we could be held accountable for. But there's a number of reasons why writing it down, not only is it helpful in growing, but it's also going to keep you from falling off a cliff. So the first reason to write it down is our memories are not what they used to be. What I mean is, in a oral culture where there's no writing, they would remember things really well. In a book reading culture, they would learn things by heart, and they would remember them. Now we're in an internet culture, and they're tracking our actual memory of events and things is actually kind of degrading. And so if we don't write things down, over time, our memory of it either changes or it just goes away completely. And so it's really important to write down what you feel you're hearing. I can't tell you the number of times people will say, "Hey, I got this word, da, 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 da," and then they go back and they read what they wrote, and they're like, "Oh no, it was totally different," right? So, so the first thing is, it helps you remember. The second reason is it forces us to be clear. It forces us to go, what was happening there? Ask questions, right? Because sometimes, like, have you ever had a dream in the night and then you're like, it seems really clear to you, but when you try to share it with someone, then suddenly you realize, wait, okay, that doesn't make sense. Wait, I went from here to there. What was going on? And so it's very helpful for you to process what actually you're hearing, right? So the first thing is it helps you remember. Second is it helps you to process it. The third thing is it actually helps you to verify it, right? So you can go back later and look at it and go, like if it was speaking about future things, did that come to pass? Is that really true? Does that still feel true to me? And the final piece of why to write it down is it allows you to share it with people that you trust to give you feedback. And so that's really important, because if we can't, if you're about to make major life decisions that God told me, um, you really want to share that with the people in your life that you trust, who can then give you feedback. Um, as I said, just kind of to reiterate, point number three is, if you're going to grow, you've got to verify what you hear. You got to test it. You got to check it out. You got to go, does this line up? Also, does this line up with scripture? You got to check things out, and you really can't check that out if it's just some vague feelings and some memory in your head. And so what I want to encourage you, if you want to grow in hearing God's voice and you want to stay out of the ditches of crazy weirdness, go ahead and write it down. Masha is amazing. She has books and books of notebooks where she's written down these words, and she regularly goes back. I know Cassandra in our bodies totally the same way. Go back and spend hours rereading what they felt God has said in another season, and shocked. Man, oftentimes, one of the things Bill Johnson will say is, if you are in a hard season, you feel like you can't hear God's voice, go back and look, and I guarantee you within the last month, God has spoken some word in prep to prepare you for what's happening today. But anybody here been in the fog in the battle and you can't remember anything? If you write it down, you can. And that's absolutely right, Ryan. Masha and Cassandra are awesome. So listen, guys, you got questions, you got things you want us to talk about as far as hearing God's voice, throw them in the comments. We'll get to them. But again, we're going to be back here every Friday with some tools for you to grow in hearing God's for yourself. But whatever you do, make sure you write it down. Love you guys. Have an awesome one.